Dear students, welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to discuss about the file system and file system implementation. So, the different topics that are going to be covered here is file concept, then access methods, then what are the directory structures, file system mounting, and file sharing and protection. A file is a named collection of related information that is recorded on a secondary storage. And from user's perspective, a file is the smallest allotment of logical secondary storage. That is, the data cannot be written to the secondary storage unless they are within the file. Commonly, files represent a program. The program, they can be both a source program or a object program, and as well as the data. Objectives: to explain the functions of file system, to describe the interfaces to file system, to discuss file system design trade-offs including access methods, file sharing, file locking, and directory structure, to explore file system protection. A file concept. So, already I said what is a file. It's a named collection which has a data in different forms. It can be in a source program, or it can be an object program, it can be a data, and this is how it will be stored on the secondary storage. But when it is stored on the secondary storage, the content would be written in the file, and the file would be on the contiguous logical address space. And what are the different types of content that a file can have? It can be a data, or it can be a program. Program can be a source program. In case of a data as well, data can be is of any type, it can be a numerical type, or it can be characters, or it can be in the a binary form. File structure. So, file structure, the simple record structure. So, the structure can be a simple sequence of words or sequence of bytes, or it can be a simple record structure. So, in case of a none, it will use just a sequence of words or bytes. If it is a simple record structure, then we can have a lines, or we can have fixed length, or it can be variable length. Files can be also in the complex structure, formatted document. So, we have a certain format. According to the that format, that file structure will be stored. The another type is a relocatable load file. Can simulate last two with the first method by inserting appropriate control characters. Okay, and who decides the structure of the file? It is decided by the operating system, or it can be decided by the particular program itself. What are the different attributes of a file? File has a name, unique identifier it will have, and file has a type, different types of, we can have a different types of a file. Location, where the file is located on the particular device, and what is the size of the file, that is another attribute. What kind of a protection that particular file has, and time, date, and user identification. When a particular file is created, the user created, when it was updated, security information, all those type of information can be attributes of a file. Information about the files are kept in a directory structure which is maintained on the disk. So, all the information about the files are kept in the directory structures, and that is maintained on the disk. File operations. What are the different file operations we can have? First one is a file is an abstract data type. We can consider file as an data type. It's a abstract data type. And what are the different operations that we can perform on the file is, we can create file, we can write it to the file, we can read from the particular file, reposition within the file, we can change the location, okay, inside the file, totally delete the file. When we delete the file, when we create the file, a particular file will be created in the file system and memory is allocated. And also there is some data structures will be there associated with maintaining the file information, open file information or the file information. Those tables will be updated. When we do the delete operation, the file will be removed and all the resources that is allocated, that is the memory that is allocated for that particular file will be reclaimed, and that is given to the other files if required, and also the related data structures will be updated. And similar to delete, there is another option is a truncate. In case of a truncate, we don't remove the file from the file system, the file will be present, only the content of the file will be deleted. This is when a certain file needs to be kept but contents are not required, but the file, because the file is kept for the basically the information regarding the file, when it was created, who created it, when it was updated, etc. If you want to maintain that, you can use the truncate. Then open file, search the directory structure on the disk for entry fi and move the content of entry into memory. So this is how we open the particular file. When we want to open the particular file, that particular file location is located on the disk, and it is all the file contents will be loaded onto the memory. That is how we can open the file. Close the file, close, move the content of the entry fi in memory to the directory structures on the disk. So whenever we close, we move the content of entry to that particular file in memory to directory structures on the disk. Open files. Several pieces of data are needed to manage a open file. So when we are opening a file, what would we need? There are certain information or the certain data that is required. One is a file pointer. What is a file pointer? Pointers to last read write location per process that has the file open. Okay. Whenever we have the particular file open, we will also have a file pointer. It will locate to the place where the last update read write was there. So this you must have noticed in any kind of a operating system. When you open the file, either on the Linux operating system or on the Windows operating system, when you open the file, you are doing some edits, and you switch back and forth, and whenever you come back to the particular file, that particular pointer holds to the where you are doing the updates. File open counter of number of times a file is open. Okay. Open to allow removal of data from open file table. Open file table when last process closes it. So we have a data structure called a open file table. This open file table will have list of all the open files, and that open file count is the very important factor that is used whenever we are closing certain file. We have to remove all the data, okay, remove from the memory when the file is closed, so that the memory is reclaimed back, and also we have to update the open file table. Disk location of the file. So we need to know on what part of the disk this particular file is located. So whenever we want to open, that particular information should be available. Cache of data, access information. So how to access that data? For that we should know where that particular file is located on the disk. Access write. Per process access mode information. We need to know the access rights, whether that particular file can be opened there can be that particular kind of a permission can be given based on the user, based on the group. So there are various levels we can give the access. Open file locking provided by some operating system and file system. So this file locking is provided by some of the operating system, mediates access to a file, mandatory or advisory. So there can be two types of access. One is a mandatory. Mandatory access is denied depending of the locks held and requested. Advisory process can find status of locks and decide what to do. So certain file when we open, if you have noticed, if there is a updatable file or a read only file, if it is a read write, when you open the file you can have the exclusive lock, so that nobody else will be able to update that particular file. That is, we are opening the file with a exclusive or the mandatory lock. For example, if you have a Excel, for example, Excel in a common location on the network drive, when user number 1 accesses that files and he opens, exclusive lock will be given to that particular user. If another user tries to open the same file, he will get a notification saying that the file is locked by somebody else. He can open it in the read only mode, or he can acquire the lock once it is released by the user 1. So it implementation depends on the different types of the operating system. This is the file locking example with a Java API. You can go through that. This is the code. File types. There are different file types. Why there are different file types is operating system should be able to understand what are the different types of files and how to operate on those files. So certain operations can be done on a particular type of a file that cannot be done on other particular type of the file. So it is always beneficial to know, for the operating system to know what type of a file it is. For example, the file types and how the file types are identified. We have the naming convention for the file is, we will have the file name dot extension. That extension will specify what kind of a file it is. So file type can be executable. Normally the extension will be used is exe, com, bin, or nothing, just the name. It depends on what kind of a operating system we are dealing with. Ready to run machine language program. So here you can see, if it is a executable, operating system can directly run that particular program because it is ready to run machine language program. Similarly, we have object program. It is a compiled machine language. The object extension would be obj or .o. Source code, we can have .c, .cc, .java, etc. Batch, we can have a batch file. .bat, .sh. .bat is for the Windows, .sh is for the Unix or the Linux operating system. It is like a commands to the command interpreter. So we can have a set of commands inside the batch file, and that batch file can be run as a set of instruction. Either it's a Windows or the Unix operations. Then txt doc for text type, then word processor, then library files. Normally we will have the library files as .lib or .a, .so, .dll. Okay. Then for print or view, we have PDF, JPG, PS, and archive. We have zip, tar, various extensions. And for multimedia, we have MPEG, AVI, MP3, etc. So these are the different file types. access methods. So how do we access the files? There are mainly two ways of there are more mainly there are two. One is a sequential access and the one is the direct access. In case of a sequential access, when file is accessed, we read one line or a one line or a we can say record at a time using a command called read next. So when we say this is normally used in all the programming languages. When we open the file, it will point to the first record, or you can say first line. And when you execute the read command, okay, when you say read, what it will do, or read next, when you say, what it will do is it will read that particular line and the pointer will move to the next line. So that is how it works. And when you say write, it will append, the pointer will be at the end of the file where it can write, and after writing a particular line, it comes to the next pointer location, that is the next address location. Similarly, we can reset, no read after last write. These are the sequential accesses. All the programming languages, they use the sequential access. Another way of accessing is a direct access. In case of a direct access, we can read a block. Okay, directly we can read a block. The whole file will be divided into blocks. We can directly read the blocks. It may not go in a sequential order. In case of a sequential order, it will begin at certain location. It could be a starting location or in between any location, and when you see read next, it will start moving sequentially. It will read the one line and it will move to the next one. When you say the read next again, it will read it and it will go to the next line. Normally in the programming, what we will do, we read the file until we reach a EOF, that is the end of a file. That is the logic that will be used. In case of a direct access, a block of memory or the block of the file is directly read n, where n is the block number. So n is a relative block number. Or similarly, we can write a block position to n and then say read next. It is very similar to read n. Here what we are doing is we are reading the whole block. Instead, we position it to that particular block, and we will read line by line or write line by line and rewrite to the block. So we can rewrite the particular block. So this is the sequential access of the file. This is the current position. You can go this way or this way. When you say like from the beginning, when you say it is read next, okay, it will keep on moving to the next line. Similarly, you can have a instruction to move back. Okay, so that is basically a rewind. Simulation of a sequential access on a direct access file. There will be some operating system. Most of the operating system, they support both the methods, sequential access as well as a direct access. Now if we have a direct access method of a file, we can simulate the sequential access. How to do that? You can see here, in case of a sequential access, we will have reset. Reset will bring back to the beginning of the file. And when you say read next, it will read that particular line and it will move to the next line. And when you say write, again it will write a particular line onto the file and it will move to the next line. Similar to reset, what you can do is you can set that block number to 0. Okay, CP is equal to 0. It will be starting from that particular block, and you can say read CP. Okay, so it will read CP and you increment it to the next, depending upon how you use the CP index. Okay, so it will read the next. Now it will read that particular whatever the record is in that particular index location, and then it will after reading, it will increment this index so that it will move to the next line. For writing also similarly it will write to the particular index location, and after writing it will move that pointer to the next location, that is the next line. Example of a index and relative files. In this case of access, it is another access method, and this is built on top of the direct access method. Here what we will have a index file, and in the index file we will have a index to the suppose this will be a index file, and this particular location, the index location will point to the record where it is present in the relative file. So when I am accessing this index file will give me the pointer to where I can find the record. So that is how this index and relative files access method is implemented. Next is a directory structure. First is a directory, as you all know, can be viewed as a symbol table that translate file names into their directory entries. So directory structure, in very general terms you can say it is a collection of all the files. Okay, what is a collection of nodes containing the information about all the files. So this is a for the user's view, directory is what? It is the collection of the files, and that particular directory can hold n number of files. So basically it acts like a nodes. Okay, it acts like a node containing information about all the files that are associated with that particular directory. For example, here are the files. F1 is linked with this directory, F2, F3 and so on. Both the directory structures and the files reside on disk, right? Both the files as well as directory, they reside on the disk. Backups of these two structures can be kept on the tapes. Okay, tapes is whenever you want to take a backup of the disk, everything is on the disk, whatever the you have the directory structures or the file structures, everything will be on the disk. And if you want, you can take the backups on the tapes. These tapes are, it can be magnetic tapes or any kind of a tapes which wherein we will take the backups. So why the backups are taken on the tapes is normally in every system, whether it is a database system or file system or a server system, many files will be created. It can be a source code files, data files. In case of a database, those files will be residing on the disk, and those disks should be regularly copied onto the tapes, magnetic tapes. In the event of any data corruption or in the event of any loss of data, those data can be recovered from the tapes. Okay, typical file system organization. Okay, file system, any entity containing a file system is generally known as a volume. So we will have a volume. So volume will contain the file system, and that particular file system can be partitioned. You can see here in the example we have here disk 1. Okay, and on the disk we have two partitions, partition A and partition B, and on partition we can have files and directories. Always it's a good way to partition the disk, so that you have the separate chunks of memory, and the files which will reside in particular disk will not overlap onto the other partition. The another way of doing this is we can have a single partition comprising of multiple disks. So in this particular we have a single partition, and all the directories and file systems are present on that particular partition, but this whole partition resides on two different disks, disk 2 and disk 3. Suppose in case if you want to restore that, you have to restore the disk 2 and disk 3 both to recover the complete partition. Operations performed on a directory. What are the different operations we need to perform on the directories? We want to search for a file. Particular file is you might have many directories and you want to do the search on that directory structure. So search for a file, create a new file in a directory, delete a file. Okay, delete from a particular file from the directory. List a directory means you want to do the listing of the directory. You want to see what are the contents. What is the example for this? Example is ls command is the Unix command or the Linux command where it will list the directory entries, or dir in the Windows operating system. You can use the on the command prompt. If you say dir, it will list all the content, that is list a directory. Rename a file, we want to change the name of a file. Traverse the file system, we want to traverse through all the complete file system to go through every content, traversing the file system. These are the different operations that are required on the directory structure. Organize the directory logically to obtain. Okay, so we have to organize the directory in such a way that it will increase the efficiency in terms of what? Locating the file. When we want to search certain file, we should be able to find that file quickly. The search should be very quick. So in terms of efficiency, or in terms of naming, okay, the conventions that users use, so it will be very convenient for the users. So the way it is, the naming is used. Two users can have the same name for different files. The same file can have several different names, so that is the naming. Third one is the grouping. So logical grouping of the files by properties. So this is third way is like organizing the directories based on their logical group. Let's say all the Java programs in one place, all the images in one file, one directory, all the videos on another directory, and so on. We can have a single level directory, a single directory for all users. So for all the users of the system, we will have only one directory, and those directories in turn will have the files. Here the problem is a naming problem will come. What is the naming problem? Suppose this particular single level directory is used by all the users. A particular user has a folder here called as a cat. The other users cannot have a directory called cat. Okay, he needs to have a different file name, or sorry, the directory name. That's the naming problem. And second one is the grouping problem. So again, grouping here becomes very difficult, grouping by the users, because it is all these directories belong to all the users. It's very difficult to group them. Next is the two level directory. In a two level directory, we have a separate directory for each user. We will have a master file directory, user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, and each of the user will his own user file directory. For example, you can see user 1 has cat, bo, all these are file system of directories, subdirectories. And similarly, user 2 has some subdirectories, user 3 and user 4. And here, as you know, you can have a different you can have the name, same name under these different users. So for example, a test folder, we can have a test folder under user 3. So there is no conflict of the naming problem. Okay. Path name. So path name is, we have to provide the path name here. How do we access this file? Using user and bo, and then we access. So we have to provide the path name. Can have the same file name in different users. We can have the same file in different users, or we can have a same directory, subdirectory on different users. efficient searching. The searching would be efficient. If it is based on a user, then we can directly route all the searches to this user, avoiding all search on this part. So we can have a efficient searching. No grouping capability. Still we don't see a grouping capability here. Here tree structured directories. In tree structured directories, we can have the directories and the files in a tree structure. You can see here in the root we have directories as spell, bin and program, and under spell we have another 3 directories, some files, subdirectories under this subdirectory, and so on. This goes like a tree structure. Now here what are the possibilities we have? We have the grouping capability. So we can group the required files and subdirectories into a particular subdirectory part. So grouping is possible. That is a grouping capability. Efficient searching, since it is a tree, searching would be very efficient. And here we use something called as when we have many paths are there, right? We can have a concept of current directory or present working directory. If you have used the Linux, we have something command called as a PWD, present working directory. So each process will be associated with a working directory. Whenever that file is accessed, it will look into that directory. Now variation to this is, now whenever we ask for certain file, most of the operating system, they provide a path environment variable, and path environment variable will have all the possible directories. That is how it will search those directories and it will be able to get the particular file. Tree structured directories, absolute or relative path name. So either in the tree structure I can have absolute path. What is the absolute path? When you say spell, if you want to access this particular file, you will say spell slash mail slash program slash object and this file. So this is a absolute path. And another way is a relative path. Suppose you are currently here, you can say the next directory, that is slash obj and file name. That is a relative path, relative to where you are present in this file directory structure. Creating a new file is done in current directory. Okay, creating a new file is done in the current directory. Always whenever you create, it will be automatically created in the current directory. Delete a file, this is an example of the Unix rm space file name. You can remove the file using this command. For creating a subdirectory, mkdir space directory name. And if current directory is / mail, okay, here you can say if the current directory is / mail, then whenever you say make directory count, what it will do is it will create a directory under mail. You can see it has created a subdirectory under mail. Deleting mail, deleting the entire subtree routed by mail. Okay, and if you issue a delete command on the subdirectory mail, it will delete all the programs, all the files and subdirectories under the mail. Then acyclic graph directories. Here we have the shared subdirectories and files. So you can see one requirement is in the tree structured, every tree is different. You cannot have any files shared between the trees. In this case, acyclic graph, we can have certain files or directories. You can see here the root has 2 directories, dict and spell, and after this you can see count has a file which is count is a directory subdirectory having a certain file, and similarly spell count is having a another file. This file is shared by both these folders. Similarly, this subdirectory is shared by these two subdirectories. Now this doesn't make a copy, but they actually share the same file. In this case, if this particular path, if this user comes and changes this file, that changes will be seen by the other user. Normally, if multiple programmers are working on certain common code and they want to see that particular files, then we can have a cyclic graph directories where they will have a common folders and common shared subdirectories where they can access from their own folder structure. Acyclic graph directories, two different names, means we are using two different names for the same file or the same subdirectory. That is also called as aliasing. Okay, what is the meaning of that? This particular file can be named as dict/count/ this file name, or it can be also named as spell/word/ that file name. Similarly, same goes for this particular folder. So aliasing has been used, two different names. If dict deletes list dangling pointer, so here what happens, if dict deletes list, you can see there is a list dict. If this one deletes a list, and if say that particular list is shared, okay, if that particular file or a subdirectory is shared, then the one pointer would be in a dangling means it will not be pointing to the actual file. So what are the solutions we can have? Back pointers we can use. Okay, so we can delete all pointers, variable size records a problem. Then back pointers using the daisy chain organization, or we can use a entry hold count solution. So that's how we can solve this dangling pointer problem. New directory entry type, how this is implemented is using a link. Okay, another name, a pointer to an existing file, resolve the link, follow the pointer to locate the file. In the Unix, if you have seen, we can implement this using a link. Okay, a directory link in your subdirectories. If you have a link as the link that is pointing to some other file or a directory, using that link we can directly access the shared file or subdirectory. General graph directory. In the case of a general graph directory, we in case of a tree structure, there won't be any cycles. Okay, in case of a there is any cycle, this is will be changed to the general graph directory. You can see here we have, this is the tree structure actually, but you can see the AVI is linking back to the book, so this becomes a general graph directory. How we can make sure there are no cycles? Okay, allow only links to file, not subdirectories. One way of making sure that there are no cycles, for example, this referencing to this and this referencing back to this, that is called as a cycle. How to avoid that? We are allowing only links to a file, not subdirectories. In case of a file is the endpoint. We cannot link it back from to the from file to anywhere else. But if we have a subdirectories, from subdirectories I can have a link to another subdirectory, and inside that subdirectory I have link to this particular subdirectory, that causes cycles. And another way of handling that is a garbage collection. In case of a garbage collection, how normally in the program garbage collection, when garbage collection is done, when the reference is lost, when particular variable or a reference variable has a reference is lost, means that object do not have any reference, those kind of objects will be removed. Similarly, what we can do is whichever pointer is not having a file associated or the file is not present, those links can be removed. Every time a new link is added, use a cycle detection algorithm. This is the third way, using a cycle detection algorithm, whether there is a link or not. Okay, make sure that there is a no cycle is present when you create the link, so we will not have the cycle link problem. Whenever one link is removed, the other would be in the dangling situation.